I'm Wade Mitchell, and today we're going to talk about the installation of IBM Cloud Transformation Advisor. We'll be looking at version 3.4, and we'll be deploying it in the IBM Cloud. We will review the documentation, walk through the steps, and demonstrate them, and show the results. And the purpose of this is to install IBM Cloud Transformation Advisor as an operator on OCP. The demo will cover the following topics, and these topics are discussed and covered in the product documentation associated with this link right here. So let's get started. Here are the minimums for the supported platforms. OCP 4.6 is the minimum requirement. We will be running 4.10 today. OCP is supported on a wide variety of cloud platforms. A license for OpenShift container platform comes with IBM Cloud Packs, and so we want to make sure that as we provision the cloud environment, we set this option. So in understanding how we want to deploy this product, we need to understand a few things about what it requires. It will require a total of 6 nodes to support these different operator points. Each node should have at least 8 cores and at least 16 gigs of memory. There are some storage requirements for the CouchDB and GraphDB. These details can be found at this link, which explains the sizing. When you're considering how to deploy and how to provision your cluster, you'll take this number and you'll set it to the number of worker nodes. And we will pick an IBM Cloud sizing that's 8 by 32. This is more memory than is the minimum, but it gets us to the CPU specifications that we need. Now let's move to our Cloud Console and get started. So we're starting in the IBM console, and this is the main dashboard. We're going to go down to the OpenShift tab, and we're going to create a new OpenShift cluster. So this will be the classic. We're going to 4.10, 4.3. We're going to apply a Cloud Pack OCP entitlement for this worker because that comes with Transformation Advisor. We're going to leave the default resource groups, and we're going to set it for a single zone since this doesn't have a high availability requirement. Dallas 13. We're going to set our worker nodes to 6. We'll change this to 8 by 32 gig. That is closer to the configuration we need. So we'll get a little extra memory out of that. Public endpoints, and we're going to name this Transformation Advisor. And all of the rest of the stuff we'll leave the same. And then we'll click Create. And this will take a little while to provision. It may take a little over an hour to get all of the OCP components provisioned, all the network statuses resolved. And what you're looking for is you want this right here to be in a healthy state. It's normal to see it go to a critical state while it's in the provisioning. So this may take a minute, but be patient and just bear with it. So what this has done, let's just look at what's going on. This has created some worker nodes. See them right here. It just added a sixth one, a sixth node. This is default. It has not set anything up yet. It's still provisioning it. So we'll come back to this in a few minutes after it's had a chance to finish its process. There's some storage considerations to take into account for Cloud Transformation Advisor. When we get into deploying the actual TA Advisor, we will choose to use dynamic provisioning. So most of this will happen as we get into the actual deployment stage. There's a number of different storage options available. We will use dynamic provisioning in this example, and we'll use persistence as you would in a production environment. It is recommended that you use block-based storage classes. So we'll use IBM C Blocks Silver. There are some other options. NFS is supported, although it's not very robust. So let's get started with talking about how to add an operator to the catalog. When you're creating an operator catalog entry, this is a list of items, products that you can deploy as an operator to Open Container Platform. This configuration that you're seeing simply tells Open Container Platform where to go get the source information needed for those products. And it's as simple as copying and pasting a YAML config into a project and creating it. This is time-lapse, so let's see what our cluster status is. We have a healthy state. It's good to move forward. Let's see where this leaves us. We have OCP deployed on IBM Cloud, and we're ready to move forward. Let's go into our OpenShift console. We'll also pull up our documentation. This is the landing page for the OpenShift console. And we're going to look at the operators. And we want to see what's installed. And we don't see the Transformation Advisor operator. So let's add the operator catalog so we can install Transformation Advisor. So we'll switch to developer mode. And we're going to add an operator. We'll go up here to the plus sign at the top of the screen. And when we click on that, it's going to allow us to add a new operator. Going down to our documentation and copying and pasting the YAML into place. And you'll notice that the YAML immediately triggers OpenShift to go out and pull down the operator catalog. You'll notice it takes a few moments to get all the information downloaded and in place. Now it shows ready. So we'll go back to the administrator view. Let's take a quick glance at what's in the catalog. So you'll see there's a wide variety of IBM products listed, and this is coming from the IBM repo. So this is our continuous delivery model making these applications available. And here's Transformation Advisor. So we see the software is available for us to install the operator. So in the Operator Hub, we can filter on IBM products by checking the sources and selecting that, and you'll see what the IBM Operator Catalog provides. We can also go to the top and do a search. Checking in on where we are, we've got the catalog operator installed. Here we have the Transformation Advisor operator ready to be installed. So when we say choose install mode, we're considering some things about the sizing and namespaces that this will go into. For this demonstration, we're going to use a production sizing scale, and we'll treat it as a default namespace. You can declare a specific namespace and allow it to operate in that environment. So once you have the operator installed, you can customize it with more details specific to namespace bindings, to role-based access control, to API access, network security if you want to allow certain subnets to make API calls, those sort of things. For our use case, we will use the default settings, which demonstrate how the product comes right out of the box. In a production implementation, you may want to customize some of these for your use case. We won't cover the YAML piece in this video. Installing the Transformation Advisor operator. We'll install the operator using the Red Hat OpenShift UI, and this will happen by deploying the operator to the operator hub, and that will allow us to then configure the operator and install it. So let's select the Transformation Advisor operator and walk through the install process. Version 3.4, and we'll use the default namespace. And you'll notice we'll click our install button to get the process started. This will take a few minutes as it's got to pull the data from the repository. And now you see we have the Transformation Advisor operator deployed. And it shows it's an installed operator. So inside that, we have a basic description of what the product is and how to configure some things like entitlement and persistence. And this can all be done inside the YAML that contains the operator configuration. For this use case, we'll leave this to default. This is what the YAML looks like for the operator configuration. You can look and see any events that have happened and if there were problems in the install. We have the Transformation Advisor operator installed. So as we deploy the Transformation Advisor, we will use an evaluation key. But in the documentation, it talks about how to go get your IBM entitlement key from the IBM website and create a pull secret and configure the registry server to use this to manage licenses and entitlements. In this case, we will just use the evaluation key. Perform cluster administration task for the instance. We did this while we were installing the operator. So we don't have to create a name for it. If you didn't create a name for it, you can go through this process below to create one. Next, we'll create a Transformation Advisor instance and get that started. All we have to do is go to the operator and create the instance. So we'll click the Create button and let's give it a name. Let's call it TA-34 demo. And we'll accept the license. Remember, we're using an evaluation. Then we'll configure our data stores, which we discussed earlier in this video. Here's the size. You could increase that if you wanted to, or if you had a lot of data to put in it. And that will be on both databases. IBM C block silver. And once we have that selected, we'll click Create. Now it's provisioning. And you see the status is updated and we have initialized and deployed. Now let's take a look at what this gives us. We see that our instance is here. We can look at the event streams to determine if there were any issues during setup. This is still catching up. Here are the resources it's created, and you can see what it's working on. Now let's take a look at its storage. Here's the storage that we've allocated to it. Now let's take a look at the pods we have running. So we want to filter on TA34, and there you see the running pods. And here you see the deployments that are active. Now to log in the Transformation Advisor GUI, we need to go to Routes and select Filter on TA34. And we will look at the UI and then the route location and click on that. This is the access to the TA console. And here we have Transformation Advisor version 3.4. We have the Transformation Advisor instance created, and we've completed all the steps to set up Transformation Advisor. Lastly, I wanted to show you a few things about what the data collector is supported for. Here's the hardware requirements for that. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please like and subscribe. Thank you.